Went back to my old job, and I maintained all the water and sewer pumps for the city. And I enjoyed every minute of it. I had a lot of people that helped me, like Miss Joanne. God bless her. I give her a lot of running around on the phone for me. The purchasing agent, all of them through the years, me and them butted heads because it's state law, Charles. We just can't do that. Now, you got to go by the rules. But the sewer is going down the street. I took a lot of chewing for things. We got things done. A good day for me was when you guys didn't get a call.
Yeah, that's a great
Again, I
day.
just want to thank all of you for my little time it was for the city. Like I said, I enjoyed every minute of it. Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Thank you for your service.
If I may, what you've seen this morning are some of the unsung heroes in the Public Works Department. I cannot say enough as to how essential these people are to what we take for granted. Good roads, the water and sewer system working properly. It's done because these guys show up, do all they can for many, many years. So we look forward to moving forward, but there again, these are your unsung heroes.
So that means you're hiring, right?
We are.
And I mean, when we're going into executive session, so I was going to be brief today. The bottom line of it is, of course, you guys will always present retirees and that sort of thing, but as you can see, in a department that we're about to do most of the work over the next year or two in Public Works Department, they're losing a lot of key resources that have been in those departments for a long period of time. We are in the process, and he told me the other day, it's the first time in probably 20 years or 30 years that we're going to be doing some of the work that we've been doing to the streets with our own equipment, the equipment that you guys purchased and we purchased to deal with maintaining our infrastructure. And as we go on and deal with EPA, a lot of the things that Hugh is going to have to do over the next year with training the right people, making sure he has the right fit in the right positions to actually carry out that work is going to be very key to our growth and how efficient and effective we are, especially in the Public Works Department, getting that done, especially with losing a lot of people who did handle a lot of the equipment needs. So that means he will be, some of this training will be retraining and new training for people who will have to now carry out those duties either on equipment or in new positions of leadership. So I'm saying all that to say we are continuing to develop and train our people in all departments, but specifically in this area, some of the things that we're working on, be patient with us because we are losing a lot of key resources and a lot of people who have been vital to the activity, the daily activity that happens in Public Works Department.
I couldn't say it better.
Right, and Hugh has 80 employees within his two departments. So, you know, as he carries out his duties, he will be leaning on new people to be trained and developed to do new things that are going to be key to address the issues with EPA and to address the issues that we have told you and given you plans for with our paving plan and other plans to continue with our infrastructure developments all around towns and each one of you all's wards. But thank you, that's my report.
Thank you. Are we being, what type of actions are we taking in training welders and making sure that when these very fine young men leave that, you know, we have some people ready to step up because our workforce is getting older? Are we being a little bit proactive in addressing and getting people ready to step into those roles?
I can speak specifically about Public Works. As far as the city as a whole, I'm going to defer that to Richard, CAO. But in Public Works, there was the sentiment of on-the-job training. As you know, the age and the attitude or the skill set of our workforce is changing. It's not just Meridian. It's everywhere. When you get to some of the technical or scientific jobs by nature, because you have to read a ruler or you have to be able to do volume calculations just as a normal day-to-day stuff. Honestly, that's getting harder and harder to find. What we're doing is developing in-house programs to educate those people. You would think that when you hire someone, they would understand what a ball-peen hammer or a pipe wrench is. Believe it or not, our young folk do not know those things. So we're literally having to start from the ground up with some of those basic skills. And on top of that, you have to teach them the communication with the public, their coworkers, how to act and respond on jobs. So we're in the process of rolling out something as soon as January in Public Works that addresses a lot of the issues you're talking about. That was one of the shortfalls I immediately recognized once being placed in this role. I think that we're not late to the game, but we're definitely going to have to pick up our pace. But I feel confident as time goes on with a little patience, we'll be fine, but we are in that transition. We are in a little influx. You're losing some. You can't just replace 30 years of experience overnight. Even if you bring the person in, well-trained and whatnot, they don't know your city. They don't know your stations. They don't know your pump stations. I mean, you can't get that back just by hiring an employee. So no matter how you look at it, there is going to be somewhat of a learning curve. And
Are
we're
we-
taking on new programs.
Are we
as well.
partnering with like
MCC?
MCC
Absolutely,
and
we
Ross
are.
Collins,
We are.
letting them know that we have this need, and if they could start equipping?
We reached out to MCC and started doing the OSHA training, even though we're not, OSHA doesn't enforce our operation. They have some very key basic understandings of how to operate or run a construction site. And we're finding that's been very beneficial when you bring people in who do not have a lot of exposure to the type of work we're talking about. So we are in partnership with MCC.
Thank you.
I just want to say that I think you've done well with the turnover you had in some of your areas of your department. I want to say that to the retirees, thank you for your work and your dedication and the longevity that you've shown to the city of Meridian and the effort that you've put into it. The guys, for the council members who have toured those particular plants and those areas that y'all do the work and even stopped and watched the guys in holes digging or repairing and doing street work, your guys work really hard. And it's to be commended. And these guys are a small reflection of your entire department and how dedicated your entire department is.
That is true.
All training that we do, that we partner up with MCC on is reimbursable through the state. We do have that ongoing at Public Safety and Training. We also have implemented a customer service training regiment that has been in place for about the past 45 days, and we are seeing the fruits of that labor coming forward on how City of Meridian employees interact with the public.
All righty. All right.
Citizen comments. We have two that are scheduled to talk this morning. We want you to be mindful that you have 3 minutes to address the council as a whole, and we do ask that you be respectful to all involved. First person on the agenda is Mr. Alan Shute.
Good morning.
Good morning.
First of all, I'd like to thank all the citizens of Meridian for going to the website and taking part in our own city, which is really encouraging because there's a lot of people out there that like what the city's doing, and there's a lot of people out there that don't like what the city's doing. So I'd like to remind everybody out there that come elections in July, it's not that far away. And if you want to keep the city councils and the mayor, I'd appreciate if you'd let me know it. If you don't, please find some people so we can replace them and get our city back the way it should have been a long time ago. Sorry. That's about it. I keep sending you guys letters, you keep ignoring them. Thanks a lot for getting that, or trying to put another person in the mayor's office. I've waited 17 months to get a reply for them, and I haven't got a reply yet, so maybe if you put another person there, they can take the time to return a call. That'd be really nice, wouldn't it? Anyway, that's about all I got to say this morning. You guys have a good day now.
Thank you. Next person on the agenda is Mr. Edgar Faulkner.
Ain't much on this, but I have several issues that somebody ought to know about, and some here knows about it, and won't do nothing about I'm complaining about some things going on out in the country on the old 8th Street Road that, you know, I ain't much on words, but I want to know if they're going to extend the city limits on out to my place. I live out on the Cold Road on Old 8th Street. And, you know, when they move the sewer system and all out there, I'm going to move. Because it don't work. It don't work at all. Like there's a problem out on the old 80. There's a problem. Sewer running all down in a creek, local creek. And just before you get old 8th Street Road, just before you get to Oak Kibbe Bridge, there's another one there, lift station. That there wasn't a lock on it or nothing. Kids could go there and get right in the sewer, so to speak. And there's another problem out on Old 80, dog situation. The city of Meridian, 2 city employees dumped dead ones out there, right next to a local cemetery, a big cemetery. And the city won't do nothing about it. They send you to other agencies. They say you gotta go to the county. I went to the county, nothing happened. And they come back to the city. It's all laid down on the city. I've been to Jackson, the Federal Bureau. They won't do a thing. They said it's a city problem and stuff like that. And I wonder why come the city can't take effect on this. They ain't doing one thing about it. And I can bag up my words with proof on this. And I wonder why come the city can't do nothing about this. The employees, nothing been done to them. Because I checked there. Down here on 18th Avenue, I saw a dead animal. I called animal rescue. It wasn't just a few minutes before these 2 that was caught out there on Old 80 dumping dogs. Did one. Come pick the animal up. I sat there and watched them. And then I made another call out on Old 8th Street Road. The same 2 come back. They're supposed to have been on suspension. Came back. I sat there and watched them. Picked the animal up. Then there was another one out there on the Old 8th Street Road. But this one, I let get right before I called them. And the 2 that dumped the dog did not come. They sent a lady out there to address the issue. And that lady had to hold her nose. She had to put a handkerchief over her nose. I felt sorry for her.
Mr. Faulkner, we appreciate you bringing that to our attention. The time has expired. I'm sure it sounds like something from maybe Public Works and the police department. I'm not sure if you've communicated with them.
I did.
Mr.
I had a question, Mr. Faulkner. What department or who specifically did you communicate these issues to initially?
City police.
Okay.
I went there 2 or 3 times, and then they didn't address the issue at all. They didn't even make a report on it, nothing.
And this happened inside the city or outside the city limits?
Outside the city limits.
By city.
And they done it
employees.
with a truck that was unmarked. Unmarked truck. They're supposed to be driving marked truck. These didn't. It was an unmarked truck, F-150.
All right.
F-150 Ford. The tag number is L.
But we don't have to give it out on the public, over the airways, but if you all could seriously address his concerns and maybe give us up to date as, you know, where we are in that process. Thank you for bringing it to our attention.
Thank you.
We're going to go ahead and do our council comments.
I had to think a lot about this one, Christmas coming up and, you know, grace, peace on earth and everything. And I know a lot of citizens wish they had peace on earth, had peace in their neighborhoods. So I'll bring this up from another light. There's a number of things that we could do as other cities have done. I don't know if we're going to do them this year because it's an election year, but we'll have to wait to see. So the one word I have is discipline. God brings that up many times. And I've been a Gideon for 25 years. We go to Parchman. We go to Leakesville. We went to the city jail for years. There's a common thread with all of these young men. And the common thread is we're supposed to be there to get them saved. But the common thread, they wish someone would have given them some discipline when they were growing up. Now, we may not be able to do it in the schools. We may drop the baton and say, well, it's not being done in the homes. But most cities realize that rules and regulations are for everybody. Now, we've seen a number of young men on TV for the wrong reasons, and there's a reason for that. We've let a whole generation from the time they were young do just exactly what they wanted to do until the time where they got into a gang or got access to a firearm. And I feel bad for these families. I'm not blaming the families and blaming that, but I do blame us. I blame the council. I blame the mayor, CAO. I blame us as a city for not enforcing our ordinances and the number of things, including a curfew, including the laws that we could have for our convenience stores, including a work program for young people. And if you talk to the judge, he has the ability to do that right now. There's no reason we can't do that right now. Young people, and I remember well when my brother and I were growing up in Chicago, he got in trouble all the time and involved me, and it only took one time. And what they did is they put something on me, and of course I was caught when I was going out the door, and the security guy there scared the fool out of me. And I thought, you know what? I was about 12, 13 years old. I said, I may not want to do this again. But without deterrence and without a preventive program, we're not only doing our citizens wrong, we're doing these young men wrong. And I love how I hear council people and I hear their administration say, we care about these young people and we want to have this for them and this for them. How about a little bit of discipline? How about telling them we care about them by disciplining them?
Well, I want to first of all thank Bunky for getting the burned house on State Boulevard on the tear-down list. We'll be so glad to do that. And then I need somebody from the city to drive with me one day through Druid Hills. 40 years ago, a lady named Naomi Savelle had a dream of making that into a subdivision. And in those days, it was one of the most precious places to live. And y'all, the streets are terrible now. I mean, you can't go hardly 10 feet without hitting a bump, or the further around you go, the worse it gets. So we need some real consideration for doing something about Druid Hills. There a lot of people live there. Now, mind you, they're not the people that Naomi Savelle thought would live there, but they're good, godly folks that do work, and they need that street taken care of. So I'm speaking to somebody in the city that can go with me, Public Works somewhere. Just, we'll go and look at it, and I'll do everything I can to see you get it, help me.
I want to thank everybody who watched the meeting, who attended the meeting today. couple of things, key words as we move towards the Christmas holiday. First word, safety. We've been very quiet about the state and the safety of our citizens. We smile, we appear at events, we appear before the media. We do everything we possibly can to make citizens feel like they can have a good time this holiday. But ultimately, after all the PSAs are done, and after all the dances have been done, citizens are still concerned about their safety. Safety. Keep that in mind. We're not going to say one word about it. We're not going to take it seriously. And this is nothing against Chief Duval. I love Chief Duval. It's nothing against the police department. They work hard. We smile and we do the dance for what we think is going to benefit us. But we don't address the needs, which takes me to that next word, need. The key to us in these positions, the key to mayor, department heads, CAO, everybody in administration, the key to us being effective centers on us addressing the needs of the citizens that they may not know they have a need for. It's supposed to be forward thinking. They're not going to know they need that potential thing handled or that potential issue. But they're very vocal about it now, you're right. But we're supposed to address it, not for the benefit to us, but to the benefit for them. Not necessarily directly to the department heads, because a lot of y'all don't live in the city, but to all of us who are required to live in the city. Affects us too. I want to again commend the retirees for the hard work they've done, those who were here, who were not here, all of those who were honored. And lastly, I do it every year, Alpha Phi Alpha fraternity, the greatest fraternity, the first fraternity for African American men, was founded December 4th, 1906. Celebrate our Founders Day Sunday. Has notable members such as Martin Luther King Jr., Thurgood Marshall, great Thurgood Marshall, Lionel Richie, the great producer Keenen Ivory Wayans, Cornel West, the philosopher, ESPN's deceased Stuart Scott, and the great composer and musician Duke Ellington. All of them were members of the fraternity. So in light of them and in light of that fraternity, I want to read a couple of excerpts from the poem that I've shared every year, If, by Rudyard Kipling. Applied 3 years ago when I read it, just like it applies today. If you can keep your head when all around you are losing theirs and blaming it on you, if you can trust yourself when all men doubt you but make allowance for their doubting too, if you can wait and not get tired by waiting, or being lied about, don't deal in lies, or being hated, don't give way to hating, and yet don't look too good or talk too wise. If you can dream and not make dreams your master, if you can think and not make thoughts your aim, if you can meet with triumph and disaster and treat those two impostors just the same, if you can talk with crowds and keep your virtue, or walk with kings nor lose a common touch, if neither foes nor loving friends can hurt you, if all men count with you but none too much, if you can feel the unforgiving minute with 60 seconds worth of distance run, yours is the earth and everything in it, and which is more, you will be a man, my son. That's all I got.
We have a lot of concerns. We have a lot of good things. Never know what's going to happen, though, in the future. You know, 75 years ago today, there were people sitting around in cafeterias and dining halls in Pearl Harbor, not realizing that the next day they'd lose about 2,500 people to death by bombing. You never know. So you have to plan to do the best you can with what you have and hope that the future is good. But you never know what's going to happen. Those folks You listen to them being interviewed on TV and radio this week, that they were totally happy 75 years ago today, but the next day, the bomb started falling. You have a lot of people doing a lot of good things here in the city. There are a lot of religious organizations that are having programs in the next few weeks. One in particular, Evangel Temple. This past week, they put on a program called Choices for the students in this county. They paid for the transportation, they made the reservations, they did everything, and they put it on for all the students in this county. I've talked to many of the students who attended. It's one of the most profound things they've ever attended. And it talked about choices that we make and the consequences of those choices. Good choices, bad choices. We all make them. We hope that the outcome is good, but we never know. Just like those folks in Pearl Harbor, you don't know what's going to happen tomorrow. So I hope that during this holiday season, regardless of your religion, you'll think about, rather than giving maybe one toy to your own children, maybe helping another child, maybe helping going to one of these charitable organizations or religious organizations that's willing to help a lot of people. You've talked about needs, you've talked about crime, we've talked about a lot of things. A lot of these children in this community need a lot of help. It doesn't take much to provide that help to some of these youngsters. Because again, you never know what's going to happen tomorrow, but we can do something today to help a lot of these youngsters.
It is Christmas time in the city. We just want to encourage you to shop local. That includes internet shopping. If you could, please go to the store, perhaps, and spend that dollar as opposed to shopping on the internet or going up the road to some of the other cities that possibly have the same things that we have to offer here. I've seen some of the new signs at Bonita Lakes Mall. They look great. And we want to try to help keep these jobs and businesses here local, and we need those tax dollars. So again, we encourage you to shop local. Thank Dr. Thomas for bringing that up regarding Meridian Public School District and the county schools. I want to thank Dr. Carter for thinking outside the box and giving this opportunity to our students to have that type of exposure that they had at the Evangel Temple. So support Meridian Public School District, volunteer, show up when you can, send supplies, send uniforms. We don't necessarily have to wait till Christmas time to do good. Let's do good all the time, and then we'll see our city move in a different direction. I want to thank all the department heads for all your hard work, the mayor, everybody for just trying to do what we can, the council members. You know, it's tough sitting in these positions making decisions. I pray for everybody every day, and I just ask our community